Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So, got a mail call for you guys, and also have an article that I want to share in the description talking about the quantitative easing programs and how Jerome Powell is talking about tapering these things. That's right, the quantitative easing programs, the asset purchases that the Federal Reserve does every single month, is growing to the point that is now creating a problem within the markets. And I knew that this was going to come. I didn't know exactly what was going to take place, but I knew that the Federal Reserve was going to have to deal with those asset purchases, and I've just said it in the last few videos recently. Now, I think it has more to do with the mortgage market than it does to have to do with the U.S. Treasuries, but, everybody has their eyes on the U.S. Treasury, which is, probably a realistic way to go about it. But I was looking at it from the mortgage end of things because I already know and heard the Federal Reserve say on more than one occasion that it takes a functioning mortgage market in order to have a functioning monetary policy. So it is critical for them to keep the housing market going, to keep the mortgage markets going, to not have like a dysfunctional event like we've had back in 2008 with the great financial crisis. So knowing that they have to keep the mortgage market going, or at least to keep the home prices elevated, it's very interesting the things that have taken place. Now, whether it's done on purpose or accident or just happens to be the situation that we're in, everything that I see is more of a constraint, supply chain breakdown that is causing prices to inflate. Everybody wants to point their finger and say the Federal Reserve's money printing is doing it, but I think it's more has to do with the supply constraints. And I'm just a lonely guy out here in the retail market, right? I don't have my eyes on every single thing like a lot of people do or claim to do. I just keep focused on the things that I can touch and see. And now I'm in the lumber business. I put my hands on the lumber every single day. I sell it at the retail end. I pay attention to the futures market. I talk to vendors who buy wholesale. I'm in the lumber market. I play the game. And I can tell you right now, the things that you hear out there are not the same thing that I'm experiencing. Go back and watch my videos. I've talked about it many times. Sorry, I got the windows open. I hope it doesn't mess the noise up too much, but it's a very nice day and it's very hot. So I know that when I'm looking at lumber sales compared to some of the other building materials that I have out there, that I'm not going to blame it on inflation. Everybody else can go ahead and do that. That's fine. You guys know better than I do. I don't know. I'm telling you that the most popular siding that I sell, fiber cement siding, has changed zero in price. In fact, comparatively to a couple of years ago, I'm selling it cheaper now than I was before. It did not go up. It did not go up with lumber. I sell just as much of it than I always have when it comes to the house packages, right? You sell studs, you sell plating material, you sell plywood, you sell siding, and fiber cement siding is by far the most popular. So I could understand that if somebody had switched over to another siding, a cheaper siding, a more trendy siding, but that's not the case. The case is that it's still the most popular, still being purchased with every house package just about, and the price has not moved one penny. Not 1 cent. It has to be trucked, just the same as all the rest of the materials out there. So everybody can go ahead and point the finger at whatever they want. I'm calling it speculative buying. Just like anything else out there, when you get this perception that there is none left to be had. Last year, we were missing out on lumber. We would order lumber, sorry, I don't have any. Right? This year, I can order lumber. Right? It's not cheap, but it's available. They say there's a constraint. You can't get a whole truckload, but I can get a single unit. I can buy a single unit over and over again. I can get the truckload, but it's going to be at an expensive price. You can get the material, it's just expensive. Last year, I couldn't get the material. There's a difference in this. So all these supply constraints out there that everybody's pointing the finger at and saying there's inflation, I don't see it. I don't see it the same way you guys do. And all I have to do is just look at that siding. Look at felt. Look at 15-pound felt, asphalt impregnated felt. If you are a builder, you're going to know that this is the most common vapor barrier out there for wrapping homes with. There is all kinds of new products out there that they use in place of 15-pound felt. I know. But 15-pound felt is still by far the oldest, most traditional, most popular, and hasn't changed one penny. Not through any of this. Nails, gone up. Paints, I hear they're gonna go up. Haven't changed yet. What else is going up? Lots of hardware, drywall, windows, doors, all that stuff is going up. Metal, all the metal sheathing for roofing panels and stuff like that, all going up. But a few items aren't. So it leads me to believe that it can't necessarily just be inflation. I would expect some. I mean, there's a lot of money printing, so I can't deny that it's zero inflation. But I don't see it as 100% inflation. I see it as a little bit inflation, and the majority of it is supply constraints. Gosh, and I couldn't believe it. What was it? Lumber at $12.90 per thousand? I mean, if this keeps going, right? I mean, you think about it. When it hits like, I forget what it hits, like 16, 17 per thousand, something like that. That's $10 a stud, or close to it, $9 a stud. When it gets to that range, it is now cheaper to go down to the lumber yard and buy lumber than it is to go buy it off the futures market. What does that tell you? When it's cheaper, when they have it at retail cheaper than you can buy it on the futures market. Either the futures market screamed up so fast, so heavy that the retail can't catch up yet, or that it's speculative buying. That contract isn't due for another month. We're going to see what happens. Just a few days ago, there was 1,600 open contracts. Today, there's 1,400 and something. Anyway, we'll find out more about that later. Let's talk a little bit more about the money, or not the money, the mail call. Always talking about money. All right. Awesome. Got a postcard from UFO Engines. Yes, thank you so much, UFO Engines. I so appreciate it. It says stagflation, a good topic that we're talking about today. Howdy. With the economic shock of COVID and the Fed government throwing money at the problem sort of reminds me of the late 1970s and 80s. Some cool YouTubes on the subject. Have you checked out the Housing and Urban Development HUD website for your area? Looks like a few homes to be had. No, I really haven't. I've just kind of perused some of the like realestate.com and ZELLE. Anyway, let's see here. These guys had some nifty looking home or kit homes and cabins. Asked them about their financing. Pan Adobe Homes Incorporated. Interesting. I will do so. Thank you so much, UFO Engines. And you know what I love about UFO Engines is he always puts like these nuclear like diagrams and these articles for like nuclear energy and just, you know, just different alternative energy stuff. And very cool, dude. Thank you so much, UFO Engines. I've held on to every single postcard you have ever sent me. I still have them all. All right, and we got a package here. All right. Debt by Design, Banking, Facts, and Fallacies. Well, that's really interesting. Deposit models. Interesting. Has a section on gold and silver coins. Legal tender. Thank you so much, whoever sent that to me. Does it say on here? Huh. Thank you. All right. I don't know who it's from, but I really appreciate it. What else have I got for you guys? You want to go see the river? It's a really nice day out. Let's go do that. So a lot of people ask what those ships are all about, and hey, this is cool. Hey, remember SM Line? Remember we actually did a video on SM Line. That's cool that they just showed up just in time. Here, let me see if I can zoom in on them. So SM Line, I'll see if I can't find that video and show you guys. These guys actually bought a bunch of those container ships like that. And these are the smaller container ships, not like the giant one that blocked like the Suez Canal. These are smaller ones. And they stopped running up to Portland. They stopped running the Columbia for a couple of years, if I remember right. But then SM Line bought a bunch of those boats, and they said, hey, we're going to be running this circuit around. We're going to be running up to Canada, up over to Russia, back down into Asia. Why don't we open up Portland again for shipping containers? And so last year, they opened those container ships up, to start coming out of Portland. So that's pretty cool to see that come up. Yeah, I'll go find that video. But most of these ships out here, they haul grain and logs, like from what I understand. That's like the majority of them. And they sit right there and basically wait until they're ready for their turn to go up and dock and get loaded before heading out. But yeah, most of it is grain and logs. So that little boat right there that's running alongside of it, that's the pilot boat. And so what they're going to do is they're going to pick up the bar pilot who gets on the boat out in the ocean before it comes into the river, before it goes through the mouth. And the bar pilot guides the ship in. Once they get to this point, then they switch and they get a river pilot. They take the bar pilot off the boat, put the river pilot on, and then the river pilot takes them the rest of the way up. Because you got to know where the channel is and how to direct that ship to make sure that you don't run it aground, run it out of the channel. It'd be cool if we could see the river pilot come on, but alrighty guys. Hope you all have a great afternoon. Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know.